Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. So happy to have you join me. Hope everyone's having a great week. As you're logging in, give me a hashtag live if you're live, hashtag replay if you're on a replay, and let me know where you're calling in from because it's always fun to see and it really helps with my planning too. So I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but I got my hair done. Woo, feels so good. It's amazing how much your vibration increases and how much your energy increases just by doing little things like that. And yeah, it's funny because I don't understand why it took me so long. It was just something that I've been thinking about, and it was on my to-do list. And then I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And you're in the right place right now if you resonate with the following 3 statements. So give me some hearts if you A, don't have time to schedule that hair appointment. No, just kidding. And the hair appointment could be something that's really like that raises your vibration, that makes you feel really good. So something like going to the gym, exercising. So think like that. So give me some hearts if you don't make time or don't have time, feel like you don't have time. The second thing is it's up here, but it's not on paper. It's not in your schedule. It's not in your calendar. It's just up here, so add to the overwhelm, right? And then, so give me some hearts if you resonate with that. And the third statement that I'm going to say is, give me some hearts if you have it in your schedule, it's in your planner, but you keep pushing it off. It keeps pushing, gets pushed back. Nope, next week. Nope, tomorrow. Nope. And then you kind of never end up doing it, or you do it eventually, right? But it takes a long time. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, because it's kind of these 3, I want to talk about 3 keys that you have at your disposal to live a meaningful and fulfilled life. And I want to help you maximize those keys and know how to use them, because it's all around. The first one, no time, so time management. The second one, it's up here, so that's more planning and organization. And the third one is prioritization and scheduling. So maybe they're 5 keys, but I like to think of the last 2 as bundles. So if we look at the first key is time management. And what I'm about to say really kind of blew my mind when I heard it represented like this. And I have to say, like my coach that I'm working with, she actually painted this picture for me. So I really think it's valuable for everyone to know. So everybody, no matter where you are or who you are, everybody has 24 hours in a day. And if you multiply that by 7, that's 168 hours a week, right? If, let's say, you get your 8 hours of sleep in 7 days a week, kudos, and that's 56 hours a week, right? And you're still left with 112 hours. So if, let's take it a step further. If, let's say, your work week is 42 hours a week, and you have 40 hours of free time, well, you still have 30 extra hours. It's kind of mind-boggling when you think of it like that. At least it was for me. So what I would suggest is, and what I would encourage everyone to do, is to do a time audit. See how long you're spending on things. Where do you spend your time on? How long do you spend grocery shopping? How long do you spend at the hair salon? How long do you spend at the gym? How long do you spend watching TV? So you can make this as labor intensive as you want. Everybody's different. So, or you can use apps, or you can use a timer, write down your start and end times, whatever's going to work for you, that's going to really paint a picture as to where you're spending your time and where you can make more time for yourself. So that's key number 1, time management. And then let's go key number 2. Key number 2 is all around planning and organization. So I'm actually going to talk about this story. Well, it's rocks, pebbles, and sand. It's a technique. And again, this is something that my coach helped me with. And I thought it's still a practice in progress, but I think it's an amazing, amazing way to view not only what's important, but help you prioritize, which we'll get to in the 3rd key. So if you've never heard the story, rocks, I always do this, rock, paper, scissors, but no, it's not rock, paper, scissors, it's rocks, pebbles, sand. So it's this philosophy teacher that was in front of his class, and he had this mayonnaise jar. If you don't like mayonnaise, maybe it's like a different jar, but it's a big jar, okay? And he had a set of rocks, and he had a set of pebbles, and he had sand. So he takes the rocks first, he puts them in the jar, and he says, "Class, is the jar full?" And the class says, "Yeah, it's full." Then he takes the pebbles and he puts the pebbles in the jar, and he says, "Class, is the jar full now?" And the class says, "Yeah, it's full." And then he takes the sand and he fills the jar with sand all the way up to the top. The sand goes in all the little crevices. It's totally full. And he says, "Okay, class, is the jar full now?" And the class is like, "Yeah, it's full." So what the professor was really trying to say is that the jar represents your life, and the rock, pebbles, and sand represent everything that's in your life. So let's take it a step further. If the pebbles and the sand were lost somehow, you would have your rocks left over. You would have your rocks in your full jar, and you would feel you would have a fulfilled and meaningful life still, right? It's when we fill the jar with sand first, that's when the rocks and the pebbles don't fit, right? So, okay, so what are rocks? What are pebbles? What's sand? Like, what is this all about? So think of rocks as the most important projects and things you have going on in your life. So spending time with family, maintaining your health, those are rocks. Pebbles. So if you think of things, there's still things in life that matter and that add meaning, but it's things like your job, hobbies, your house. They're definitely adding meaning and fulfillment to your life, but they're not critical to your overall well-being. Like, think of these things as like things that come and go. They're not permanent, but they're not permanent or essential to your overall well-being. Like, if I lost all my money, I know that my family would be there for me 150,000%, right? And then the sand is everything else. So it's those errands, it's those material things. It's basically things that take like really little time, or things that we do to waste time, if you think of sand like that. So the metaphor really, and I touched on it earlier, is if you fill your jar with sand, then you're not going to have any room for pebbles or rocks. If you fill your jar with pebbles and sand, you're still not going to have any room for rocks, which is like the rocks are what is going to give you your long-term well-being. So that's the stuff you want to pay attention to. And I'll be honest, like for the longest time, I paid a lot of attention to pebbles and not so much the rocks. Paid a lot of attention to sand, and yeah, it's hard, right? Like, so what I would suggest is picking 5 rocks. So 5 things that are super, super important to you. And it can be it can be in your work and different areas of your life, if you will, but make sure that your health is first and your family is first. Okay? The third key, excuse me, the third key is prioritization and scheduling. Okay, so great. I have these pebbles, rock, sand, this rock, pebble, sand picture happening, this great story, but how do I use it? Like what is the question that I always like to ask. So if you have a really good planning and prioritization and scheduling, you are going to find the time, like you're going to make the time and you're going to do the things that you need to do all at once, right? Not all at once, but in the time that you planned it. So what I would do is I always work with life environments. And life environments are just areas of your life that make up your life. So for example, finances, career, mindset, family, relationships, all of these things and more, much more. But you get the idea. Like people may have something different, but there will be the core categories like your health, career, business, career/business, I should say. And family and things like that. So once you have your categories, like I have 10 personally. So once you have your categories, list out the regular activities that you do under each category that are going to make that life area, that life environment, like a 10 out of 10 on the satisfaction scale or happiness scale, if you will. So for health, like under health, for example, I have exercise 5 times a week. I have drink water. I have grocery shopping, because if I don't eat well, then I'm no good to anybody. And yeah, you may have some other things, but I just want to give you an idea. So you'd write down your activities under each one, and then you go and say, okay, which activity is a rock, a pebble, or sand? And I would go in and coordinate. I would highlight. I'm a highlighter. I love color highlighting. And then once you have your rocks, pebbles, sand tagged, I would then take all my rocks, all my pebbles, and all my sand, and I would write them out in order of importance. So that's your prioritization. And I have this list, and I revisit it every month or so, but I have this list because once a week, every Sunday, I will plan out my whole week. And that list gives me exactly what I need to do. So I know that I can take out my calendar and I'm going to slot them in now. I have an idea of how long I take to go grocery shopping. If it's an hour, like I budget an hour just to walk, unpack, all those other things. And I do that every Wednesday. And if my Wednesday is crazy, then I might do it on the Tuesday or Thursday. But you have this bird's eye view of your week and everything that you have to do in order of importance, in order of priority. It's amazing, but it does take practice. Like I will say, the first few weeks that I tried to do this, I was like, oh, is this really how it's supposed to be? But yeah, like you're gonna tweak, and you're gonna, especially at the beginning, you're gonna maybe you thought something was a pebble, but it's actually more of a rock, or maybe it's more of a sand. Like you're gonna play around with it, but it is amazing. Because once it's in that schedule, then you know that you're going to do it. You can check that off. And if something has to move, well, you know when and how or if you can move it, right? So that's the training for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And look out for my blog on Friday, because I'll have a little more of this. And if you do have questions, I don't see any questions on this video yet. But if you do on the replay, I'll come back and make sure I speak to them. So have a great rest of the day, evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you soon. Bye.